I was framed. I was extorted for huge amounts of money, and then wrongfully imprisoned for 5 months as the very corrupt local police force. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about where I am because I actually need to get out of here before I start talking more about specifics.
Hello, it's the Mark Outward Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Today, we're going to mix up a couple of subjects because they're both interesting to me and to you, I believe. That's why I make these shows. One subject is police corruption and wrongful arrest, and the other one is ancestral healing. How do you mix these two together, Mark? Well, let's find out and bring in Phil Escott. How you doing, Phil?
Hello, Mark. I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'll just tell everybody, if you haven't seen Phil before, he's the man I refer people to when they say, Jesus, the doctors just told me I've got arthritis. There's no cure. What am I going to do? I'm in terrible pain. I say, right, firstly, read this book, stop eating bread and vegetables and get on with your life.
It is that simple, isn't it?
It is actually that simple.
But then you've got to get through all the dogma and stuff like that that's built up around diet. And it is funny, you always say that, you know, you can talk about eating babies and all kinds of stuff on your show, but nothing creates so much discord as telling people that they should go carnivore.
Nothing comes close.
Weird, isn't it?
22,000 children missing every single day since the Second World War. Crickets. Veganism is a satanic agenda. It's extraordinary. And then people say, are you sure it worked? I mean, I want to tell this story, but somebody close to me was doing the carnivore diet and then sent me a message while I was away saying, I've been in a hospital for 3 days. And I went, why? Because the diet has caused me a blockage. And I tell everybody, you're not going to poo because there's no waste. But they always think it's a blockage, and that's constipation.
It's always good early on in the show to get into some poo, but yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because people think that you need fiber to poo, and it's actually quite the opposite. But it balances out in time, and you go regularly, and you never get any intestinal discomfort whatsoever. But gone are those myths, I hope, that people have 35 pounds of impacted fecal matter coming from meat in their colons. It just doesn't happen. It's never happened.
Yeah, but on the good side, it's definitely catching on. And there's a lot of very big YouTube channels now, and a lot of people are doing it, and they're starting to realize, oh, hang on, this is good. If you're watching this, by the way, and Phil's book is called Arthritis, the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. Oh, look, I purchased it May 25. I actually purchased it a while back. I buy this. I buy it for people and I get it sent to them directly. Because it just saves me a long conversation. But, it's extraordinary. But anyway, let's quickly talk about the Ancestral Health Festival that's going on in the UK in a couple of weeks again, because I think that is a fantastic thing that you're doing there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we did it last year and it was great, but this year it's bigger and better. We've got more people coming, and I'm just so lucky in this space that I know these incredible speakers that become good friends, and I can get them along to speak. And I just think what's so good about this is that people who are actually speaking. Oh, check this out, Mary Ruddick. Right, she travels around all these ancestral tribes all around the world, and also an incredible expert on the microbiome, which very few people are in the whole world. They pretend they understand it, but they don't. But Mary's probably getting closer than anybody. but absolutely lovely. Probably the most smiley, happy person you'll ever meet. But her stories of traveling around the tribes are amazing. And the things that they actually eat, because people go, oh yes, we live off you know, fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. No, they don't. 90 to 100% meat wherever they are on the planet, according to latitude and season. And they don't have any of our chronic diseases. And at 120, they're still dancing around the fire. These people don't die at 30 years old. Mary's great. And then there's me, you know, I'll waffle along about my healing journey. These two are brilliant. These two are married. They're doctors, GPs from Southport, just down the road. Very well known now. Absolutely blowing up the dogma in their practice about diabetes and reversing all that on low carb diets for people. I don't suppose they're very popular with the medical system, but they're very, very popular with their patients. And so David Unwin will be going on about that. Jen Unwin will be speaking about food addiction, because so many of us fall off the wagon because much of our food these days is not food, it's recreational drugs. all the carbohydrate stuff and addictive stuff. But yeah, who's next? Oh, Sarah Pugh, absolutely one of my heroes, great friend. If you want to know about all circadian biology, light, water, magnetism, everything like that, she gives the most amazing talks, incredibly knowledgeable. Richard Smith used to be 100 pounds overweight, and his bodybuilding photos as before and after pics, honestly, the best ones ever. Absolutely ripped and winning bodybuilding competitions. Now probably one of the leading experts in the country on diet, biochemistry, training, that kind of thing. Nikita Stark, who I'm sure you know, Mark.
Well, most of my viewers have seen her. I've interviewed Nikita a few times.
Yeah. She's absolutely lovely. She runs When Push Comes to Shove, all about natural birth. So, you know, health starts before birth, really. But also she's a great expert on trauma release, that kind of thing. And she's also a fantastic musician. So she'll be performing a few of her songs, some of them with us playing it as well. And so just before the Daz Band goes on in the evening on the Saturday. And Stephen Thomas, again, like Richard, these two are quite often a team online. You can find them answering questions, you know, Q&As on carnivore and keto diets. Stephen Thomas, incredible. If you want blood results interpreted properly, not misinterpreted like your GP will, Stephen's the guy. But again, very, very knowledgeable, very fascinating guy. And my friend Mighty Goodson, who I've known for a long time, she lives just down the road from me. Incredible knowledge of all the sort of trauma release and counseling type modalities. Very, very cool, very funny, very sweet. And she's helped me so much in the times when I've been ill, because it's not all about diet. And yeah, we got some breath work from Janice Cameron. She's another hell of a character. And my old friend Roger Davis, very, very cool with all the natural movement stuff. That was really popular last year. Loads of people trying to tie themselves in knots, you know, on the floor. Now, Ryan Abbott, I've not met him yet, but he's a very fascinating guy. And I'm going to have to get him on my podcast, because he's got much more to him than just being an ice bath practitioner. So you can book an ice bath if you want. Absolutely not compulsory, but he'll be there to take you through that.
Highly recommend that if you're watching this and you go, you haven't lived till you've been in an ice bath.
Yeah, I know. It saved me. That first winter I was sick and I didn't know how to eat. It just takes away the inflammation. You know, I'd limp into the bathroom and dance out after a cold bath.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And it does much more than that, but we won't go into that here. So massage from Diane, and if you want to chill out and have a massage from Diane, that's very cool. I know that Sarah really enjoyed it last time. And of course, we'll be playing with our disgraceful tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist band, the Daz Band. So Darren Nesbitt will be there as well, who runs the Light Paper. And we'll be making a good noise on the Saturday night. This is one of the stalls, some great friends of ours. They'll have some excellent stuff there. And here it is. Now, it's a bit funny. People go, oh, it's at a pub. No, it's not. It's got a massive amount of fields out the back. Big marquee, beautiful place. And lots of food, great food that we'll be doing. We also have, if you want to bring your own food or get some off us and cook it over fire pits, you can do that. And yeah, in the evenings you can go in the pub and listen to more music if you want, if you're one of the late night ragers, but we'll have packed in by about 9 or 10. But yeah, there we go.
And that's
camping and glamping as well. But those tickets are, they're limited, so get booked soon. Book a nice glamping tent.
Yeah, that's at the website is ancestralhealthfestival.com.
That's the one. Yeah. All the stuff there, testimonial videos from last year. Check it out.
I'm going to try and make it.
Hope you can. Oh, we didn't even say it's the 16th and 17th of August. That's weekend after next as we record this. So, yeah, there we go.
I'm going to try and make it. And if you're watching this and you can get down to Lancashire, because it's near Ormskirk, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
Ormskirk is where I used to do aerobatics back in 1987.
Did you?
Over the town of Ormskirk, yeah. So yeah, I don't think I've actually been to the town, but yeah, I'm going to try and make it over. Can't guarantee it, but I usually do what I say I'm going to do. Usually, and
I hope you can.
What I hope I can too. I mean, we've got an event we're doing in the west of Ireland on the 20th of September as well, and there was a video out yesterday. So really great guys over here organised a freedom music festival in a place called Drumshanbo, and they got closed down because the shills that live near me that are online all the time, they raised 220, I think, signatures to close it down because they're fascists. And what they do is they ring the venue and they say, "You're working with the fascists. We're going to tell everybody that you're supporting fascism," and the venues generally fold. And then
they did that with a Daz band as well on a tour a couple of years ago. They only got one venue to fold and one who got a little bit suspicious but went ahead in the end. But Daz had picked reasonably awake venues. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's amazing because the ones who are calling them fascists are the fascists.
Yeah,
they're not anti-fascist. They're anti-free speech.
Exactly.
But the venue owners that capitulate. Yeah. It is.
We had one guy messaging us saying how dishonest Daz was, how he's ripping everybody off, how he's a Nazi. Really, really long messages. I even found one that they sent to Detta, my missus. They found out who I was with through Facebook and sent one to her saying, "Are you aware that your partner is involved with Nazis and stuff?" It's like she didn't even check it. That was from a couple of years ago. I found it when my Facebook got pulled down recently, so I had to use hers.
Yeah, well, I'm bringing that up because the event in Drumshanbo has been reorganized on private land. So that's another loss to the anti-fascist. And, if you're watching this and you're like thinking about going to any of these events, go. I mean, geez, everybody was begging to hang out with like-minded people 4 years ago. And now these events are happening on a regular basis. Don't give your money to concerts at Wembley. Go to these events, and especially the Ancestral Health one is close to my heart because it's we're running a retreat here at the moment, and the menu for the people coming on the retreat is all carnivore, and this is all because of meeting Phil. Nice. I mean, I met Phil 3 or 4 years ago when the Red Pill Revolution book came out, and it was
more like 5 or 6. It's more like 5 or 6 now.
No, it's 4 years ago that I met you.
We met up before the whole pandemic thing at Jeremy's once, didn't we?
No, it was after the pandemic. It was
just into it. Okay.
It was the first time I could leave Ireland because I realized I could get there via Belfast. So no, I remember that's why I drank so much that weekend, because I was so happy to be out and free. That was.
I remember that night we got complaints from the neighbours.
Yeah.
Said no more singing, can't do it. So all right, and so started on the didgeridoos.
Oh yeah, yeah. Happy days. But fun. Yeah, I mean, you've been at this journey for a long time with the with your work, the arthritis story. I think most people watching my channel will know that. But if you haven't seen Phil before, where can they find you? At the Ancestral Health Festival in a week.
Absolutely. Come and see it. And there's nothing like being in person, is there? These online things are great. But philescott.com, and you can find my Substack and get news of all these upcoming festivals. Our big Spanish one, but that's sold out in November. And all the other things, you know, get on my Substack for Zoom support calls and news for everything. And yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope to see you there. But another reason for doing this chat today is that you brought to my attention the plight of a friend. Do you want to tell that story? Because I think that's something that we need to.
I won't steal his thunder, but I'll introduce him, because Ken and I go back a long way to the early '90s when he discovered a band I was playing in, and just round here somewhere. I don't know what this sort of high-powered music executive American was actually doing in England at the time. But he said, you know, you're the next band, and absolutely, I want to take you on. And it was very cool. But we didn't really believe him, because you don't in the music business. You don't believe anyone. But it turned out to be true.
Hang on, because I've just got to tell you, because I was managing bands 35 years ago, and I had those nights with the A&R guys and stuff, and then kissing their asses to try and get the record deals, and then getting so drunk with them that you forget their name the next morning.
Well, Ken absolutely, you know, helped us so much and became a really good friend. And, you know, he got us into Real World Studios, recording at Peter Gabriel's place, and got us to be the best unsigned band in the UK, voted on the satanic BBC radio, which we didn't know how satanic it was back then. But, you know, very, very cool guy. And then he packed up and went off to Indonesia. And, well, he has had an extraordinary experience out there, because he had a beautiful resort. And anyway, I'll let him come on and tell the story, because just to say that, you know, Ken is one of the he's like family. He really is. He's been amazing. In fact, it was him who helped me out as well, even with that arthritis book, and got it to be a bestseller back in, you know, 2013, 2014 or so. And he's always been incredibly supportive. My son calls him Uncle Ken. And yeah, I love Ken. So let's let him tell the story.
All right, brilliant.
He tells it brilliantly.
Hello, Ken. How you doing?
Hello. Good evening and good morning, as I said before.
Well, it's very nice to meet you. Do you want to tell the story, Ken?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for this, Mark. As Phil said, we are very old friends, and I'm a huge fan of his podcast. But you're a new friend, and I love your podcast as well. And your poetry is amazing. If you need a manager, let me know.
I might take you up on that. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I am. Besides the music business, I've had another pretty big chapter to my life, which was a bit of a going for rights, children's rights when I was growing up, and animal rights, things like Save the Seals. And then when I got to university in Washington, D.C., I was in charge of rallying up all the university students at all the schools in the greater DC area for the demonstrations in front of the White House against people like Pinochet and apartheid, and so anyone that the U.S. was supporting and shouldn't have been. Then I took a bit of a break from that side, and the next thing I knew, Facebook happened, and this whole thing gets started in 2020, and I start trying to wake people up. From the first week it came out, I was, as Phil was doing, was telling people, don't fall for this, for God's sakes, you're crazy to fall for this, and then just started losing friends, quote unquote friends on Facebook, left and right. Then the next thing I knew, I was in jail. And for all the work I had done for human rights and so on and so forth over the carrying the torch for human rights, I was in jail and a human rights victim myself. I was framed. I was extorted for huge amounts of money, and then wrongfully imprisoned for 5 months as the very corrupt local police force. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about where I am because I actually need to get out of here before I start talking more about specifics. And that's one of the things Phil and I are trying to do at the moment. Because of the extortion, I'm quite penniless, and we're trying to put together enough money for me to, I've finished the book now. I'm getting some very good reviews from it and some very good interest even from Hollywood and so on and so forth. But I've got to get out of here before I start talking specifics, or my life could be in danger. It's that bad here. But in terms of the story, yeah, I spent 5 months in a very third world like jail, where I was treated like an animal, basically, and I just lived this roller coaster existence. I was appointed a lawyer by the corrupt narcotics chief, and who was his old friend from school, and so they were totally in on it together, as well as the crystal meth smoking brother of my local girlfriend. And so the whole thing just turned into a scam against me. And finally, in month 5 of being in jail, these 2 angels showed up at my cell door and said, "Come on, we have to have a meeting," and explained to me everything that was going on, and said, "Listen, if you fire your existing corrupt lawyer now and switch to us, we only have 3 weeks before your court hearing, but we know the prosecutor well. We play golf with him every weekend, and he knows nothing about all the promises that your other lawyer has been making to you, and in exchange for all the money he keeps asking every time he does it. And we know the judge well also. The judge has never heard anything about your case." And they just went to town, and 3 weeks later, it was amazing. I got released, and they admitted that I was innocent and that the whole thing was a scam.
Wow, that's, it's not the first time I've heard this kind of story either, because one of my friends moved to that part of the world and lost an entire island and then stabbed his brother. And when I spoke to him, I just remember, as you're telling me the story, I just remember that phone call where he said, "Life is cheap here." And I couldn't believe the betrayal. He couldn't believe the betrayals that happened to him. And you mentioned you got a local girlfriend who obviously betrayed you, right?
Yeah, definitely, big time. Yeah.
So they marked you.
Yeah.
How are you coping now? I mean, that's some serious PTSD going on there, isn't it?
I definitely went through it. Yeah, I mean, especially the first kind of. I think it's still lingering, but the first 3 to 6 months after getting out I was really tender and sensitive. The thing that I would notice most was that if I was watching a film or hearing a story about, I remember watching a film about Aretha Franklin and her growing up as a musician when she was young and just had a horrible life. And when I would hear about something like that, just the compassion would just come flowing out of me, and I would get into tears, because I wanted to reach out and hug that person, because it was because I felt like I had no compassion, at all for 5 months when I was in that jail, which was so different for me, Mark, because, I had just gone through 63 years of existence with incredible friends like Phil and many others that way. I just had amazing friendships leading up to that point and then all of a sudden you just have nothing. You're treated like an animal, really, literally, and it's such a strange feeling inside, just the energy of your body. And the other thing that I got, Phil knows about this part as well. I've read this kind of as an audio book clip, but I kept, when I was in jail, I got it, and when I was out of jail, I got this urge. I wanted to just sit on a big old settee, and with my mother on one side and my father on the other side, with my arms around both of them, and just sit there and watch old black and white films. I felt like that was good. Speaking of like comfort food, Phil, like you were talking about before, the carbs and that kind of thing, that would have been my carb. Would be to just to sit there and imagine that I had mom and dad on both sides of me, or we were watching old black and white films, and that gave me a little bit of comfort, Mark.
Yeah, well, I understand that. I'd go to Yankee Doodle Dandy and It's a Wonderful Life, and then move on to Angels with Dirty Faces if it was me. But
do you think it's a good point to read one out, Ken? Because I've got to say, I've heard a lot of these clips, I've read some, and I haven't read the whole book yet, but I can't believe that Ken has never written a book before, because his phrasing, his the emotion in it, it's so beautiful. But,
yeah, well, the universe has wanted me to write a book for decades, and I knew I could do it, but I kept putting it off. And sometimes I know this probably sounds strange, but I mean, sometimes I wonder if all this even happened to finally get me to write a book. It was like
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Because good books only come from deep shit, don't they? And
gosh, yeah.
This book was only written because the governments of the world tried to kill everybody. Duress is required by God but there's an important point to this, because, and I would like to hear some of it, but I want to tell the viewers the purpose of you highlighting your story, because this does happen a lot, right? And and it is another indicator of the depth of corruption worldwide that is happening. It happens everywhere. And it happens in places in particular where they can get away with it, which is why it's important to highlight these stories. But what's your motivation for getting this story out at the moment, Ken?
Yeah, well, that's it. This is my latest warrior, project, if you will. I mean, to me, I want, since this has happened to me, Mark, gosh, the number of other people that I've come in contact with who've had similar things around the world happen to them. And I actually was offered a deal from a podcast company in the States called Pod People, to do an 8-episode podcast with them. And when I told them about all the other people that I keep running into, they said, and if you want, after we do the 8-episode about you could continue on doing the podcast and bring on other people that you're talking about, that you're meeting, which is something that I would love to do. I don't want to just make people aware of what's happening in this particular country. It's happening all over the world, as you pointed out, and that's my new mission. I want to do that. I've sent out proposals to Wondery and Pineapple Studios and iHeart, hoping that they seem to be the 3 best right now for a true crime podcast. So the reason why I didn't go with Pod People is that then they said I'd have to pay for the podcast up front. They wanted $70,000.
Stay away from those guys.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I've got a very good scam detector. Throw him past me.
Okay, very good. All right. Now, apparently, Wondery, Pineapple, and iHeart don't do that. They don't ask you for anything up front, and meanwhile, they've got the best reputation for true crime podcasts as well. But I want to do so. I want to do that off the back of a successful podcast. I've had a big Hollywood film producer. I've done 6 Zoom calls with him now. Say, Ken, if you do a podcast that's successful, I'll definitely make a film about this. I met with a award-winning documentary maker last week. He's done documentaries for everybody, all the big platforms over the years. And he said, Ken, I would love to make a documentary of this also. I said, can we do that? Can I make a film and a doc? And he says, yes, it's done all the time. Don't worry about it. And then I'd love to do the speakers circuit as well. So there's no stopping me when I've got a passion about something like this. As I told you, I've done it before in the past in my life as well. And I go for it with a vengeance, and that's what I want to do this time as well. I'm 67 years old. I had it all happen to me at 62, 63 years old, but I feel like a 19-year-old in my energy that wants to go out and expose this.
Well, all you need for a podcast is a laptop and a YouTube account, and you can be off and running. And what would really be good if you do that, go and interview all the people that Keir Starmer's put in prison for doing tweets and Facebook posts. That would be a starting point. That would get hundreds of thousands of views very quickly, and you'd be off to the races.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Our guitarist Siraj was arrested last week. That Epping Forest thing, and he spent the night in jail just for filming it. Yeah, I think he did point out at one point that one of the coppers that was sort of pushing everybody back was a bit of a fat bastard, but I don't think that warrants an arrest.
You fat bastard! I can imagine what he was saying. Do you guys watching? I'm just going to share this with everybody. If Ken's story is touching you, Phil has set up a Give Send Go page. I'll put the link below here. It's on here, and I think it's worthy of your attention if you can look at that. I'm interested also, Ken, did you said these 2 angels appeared 3 weeks and got you off, got you out of the corruption. I'm wondering, firstly, the terminology angels is obviously of interest to me and my viewers. Did you have a spiritual awakening while you were in prison, or did you believe in angels before? And did you mean literal angels when you said that they turned up? And what happened to them when they exposed the corruption?
No, I've believed in angels before. I've had a few situations in my life where I've been visited by them, so it was no surprise to me. Yeah. I had when was it back in about 20 years ago. I was separating from my Italian wife, and I had a lawyer from Ireland who I was living in Rome at the time, and I had a lawyer from Ireland who spoke Italian fluently and worked in the legal system, and was my initial lawyer because my Italian was shite. But by law, you have to have a lawyer who's Italian also, and the Irish woman brought in the Italian one, and then I was down in Cape Verde living at the same time as well, and I get a call from the Italian lawyer, and immediately I said to her, her name was Chiara, which I'm pretty sure means the light. Or something similar to that in Italian. she called, and I said, "Oh, please, first let me tell you, I'm really sorry that I haven't been in touch with you. The other lawyer said don't bother you." And she stopped me. She says, "Ken, I'm not calling about the divorce. I'm calling about something else." And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And she said, I need your permission to heal you." She said, "You've become very depressed over this divorce, and your soul," she said, "you have a beautiful soul, and I love watching it," she said, "but you have developed lots of holes in your soul, like a piece of Swiss cheese." And she said, "I need permission to be able to fill those holes." And I had gotten very cynical with my spiritual side by this time, but everyone was saying it to me. "What's happening to you?" And I said, "Hey, whatever floats your boat, Kiara. If you want to fill my holes, you go right ahead." And next thing I knew, I was feeling it within a few days happening. She was in Rome and I was in Cape Verde, and I could feel every time she was doing it. It was incredible. So then I moved back to London, and I met her for the first time in London. Met her at the train station, and we went to this little cafe that was nearby that I used to frequent, and they knew me well. And then we're sitting at the back table, and she's starting to explain to me, trying to explain more about what she's doing and how she's doing it. And all of a sudden, she looked at me and she says, "You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me at all. You're all over the place right now. Give me your hand. I'm not supposed to do this, but give me your hand." And I reached out my hand, and she put her hand on top of my hand, and it was like having I think, a near-death experience. I felt this wave of unconditional love like I've never felt in my life before. I mean, it was just the most beautiful thing of energy I ever felt, and it brought me, my concentration came back to listen to her. All of a sudden I was like, boom, present and there, and I could, but it took 5 minutes. I had to sit back for 5 minutes while it was happening to me, and I could see the staff who knew me well looking in the distance like, "What's going on with Ken, for God's sakes? This is bizarre." So I don't know what I looked like. Maybe I was glowing or something. I don't know. So I've had, and that's just one. There's been numerous things like that have happened in my life. So in a sense, Mark, I was waiting for the angels to come. Is that an Elvis Costello song? Yeah, in a sense, it didn't surprise me when they arrived.
So while you were in there, were you able to contact friends, family outside? Did they know you were going in there? Did you?
Good question. Now they kept my phone downstairs at the guard desk, and they didn't want me making any calls, and I would see the other cellmates knew that they could, if they, especially, there's 2 cells in this jail that you're in before you go to the prison, a women's cell and a men's cell, and the women have figured out ways to schmooze the guards, as you can imagine, with the ways that might be possible. And through that, they then get to borrow the phone, for example, of a guard and make calls and that kind of thing. Obviously I couldn't shake my tush in front of the guard or that kind of thing. So I didn't have much power in that sense. But and in fact, yeah, that's another thing I could read, Phil, when the phone call comes from my mother, which was such a surprising thing because I hadn't had any phone calls in two months. But finally, near the end of the 5 months, I realized, I started talking to one of the guards one day, and he said to me, he goes, "Did you ever go to Kentucky Fried Chicken when you were in the States?" And I said, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I said, "My father loved Kentucky Fried Chicken. he compared every restaurant by how good their coleslaw was next to Kentucky Fried Chicken. and he said, gosh, he said, my dream would be to go to America, get off the plane and go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I yelled out to the others, we got us a fried chicken fan here. And so I made a deal with him. If he'd go downstairs and get my phone from the guard desk, that I'd use my phone to call up, to use the local Uber, or delivery service to deliver us fried chicken for both cells, as long as he lets me keep my phone for several hours. He said, you got it, Ken, you got a deal. And so for the last few weeks, I spent what little money I had left on fried chicken, which was worth its weight in gold.
Wow. That is... Sorry to interrupt the show, but I'm here in my car on a beautiful sunny day in lovely Ireland, and I just wanted to say to regular viewers of my show, you'll know that over the last 5 years I've tested probably over 1,000 different health products and modalities to try to get us through the COVID psyop, but also to help us enhance our longevity towards health sovereignty. Now, out of all the things that I've tested, there are a number of things that I use on a daily basis. And for the last 3 years, you will never see me without one of these on the back of my neck. I can't actually, if you can see it there. It's on the back of my neck. This is a Lifewave X39 patch. Well, this is actually not a patch. This is the sleeve that it comes in. This is an X39 patch, okay? This thing, you just stick on the back of your neck. And what it does is it reflects the light coming from inside your body back inside your body. So it reflects the light coming out of you back into you, but at a frequency that achieves a certain thing. They have a large range of patches that do different things, from helping you sleep better to helping you recover from pain or from exercise pain. This one in particular, the X39, is my standard thing that I wear every day. And the reason for that is because this stimulates the production inside your body of copper peptides. And copper peptides in turn stimulate stem cells. Now, I am 56 this year, and I've got more energy than my teenage kids who I'm on the way to pick up. Why is that? Well, structured clean water is part of that. A mainly carnivore diet is part of that. I do have access to things like hyperbaric oxygen and red light therapy at our healing center at live5dhealth.com, but actually I don't use them very often because I'm a workaholic. But these patches have not left my neck since I first discovered them in 2022. And I am convinced that my eyesight is better, my teeth are stronger, my arthritis has disappeared, my hair is thicker and longer. Look, there's a ponytail here. Sex drive is better. So many things are better, and I'm convinced it's because of these. If you're not convinced by me, go to themarkatwoodshow.com and search under Lifewave or stem cells. You'll see that I've done numerous interviews with numerous people giving their testimonies about Lifewave patches from all over the world. So go and have a look at those if you're not convinced. I'm going to put some QR codes on the screen. One is for the Lifewave patches themselves, which you can go and get online immediately. They are not the cheapest thing in the world. I do think they're actually less than a cup of coffee a day if you wore one a day. But and I understand that doesn't stretch everybody's budget, but they also represent an amazing sovereign business opportunity. You can get paid for recommending these. If you try the patches and you sign up to the other QR code, which is the business opportunity page, that will put you in touch with Cheryl. Cheryl works with me in the States, and she will talk you through the process and show you how to do it. All you've got to do is share a link and give your testimony. This is the way we bypass Google, we bypass press, national TV, mainstream media to grow this business, which is currently $1 billion business. It has grown leaps and bounds since 2020 because of the need of people like us who are awake, who want to sustain themselves and get through this time period so that we can get through to ascension in one piece. That's what it's all about. Freeze the video if you need to get onto the QR codes. Go to those links now. That's all for now. I hope you enjoy this message and you enjoy Lifewave, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the show. Back to me in the studio. That is a good story. But I'm also interested that this happened in 21, which was in the Western world, lockdown time. What was it like there?
Well, see, this is what a lot of people love about my book, because it adds a whole nother angle to the book, because it starts. The Hollywood film producer who's interested has described my book as Midnight Express meets Jack Nicholson and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest meets Dustin Hoffman and Steve McQueen and Papillon. So I started off in a very Midnight Express type feel. I was only in with other locals. Most of them were in for drug use, smoking crystal meth. And then there was the narcotics chief heard that some other people had approached me with a deal of extortion that would get me out immediately if I would pay them. They were kind of like agents. I call them the vultures, the prison vultures, because they just hang around waiting for cases like mine that they can then sneak in as guests, visitors, and offer you this deal about getting out. So the narcotics chief hears about this and immediately throws a international media conference. There was more than 200 journalists there. There was 120 journalists, and I ended up being on more than 200 news websites around the world. ABC News, The Guardian, the Washington Post, Seattle Times, you name it. I was there as a major drug dealer arrested, in this idyllic tropical area. And he did that because he felt like he could basically leverage himself against the other guys and force them out of the deal and make sure that I had to pay him instead of pay the others. So this media thing happens, and they decided to have another white person that had been arrested, which was a guy from Rome, Italy, who had been arrested with 96 grams of cocaine. And he had been in one of the other jails, which was a lot worse than mine. It was 15 to a cell, 30 to a cell. Mine was 15, with everybody sleeping standing up in the cell. You would just lean against each other and sleep that way. I mean, the conditions that he described to me about that place was incredible. But for some reason, after the media conference, they decided to switch him to where I was. And so we're in the black police van going from the media conference to the jail. It's him, me, and the girlfriend. We're all handcuffed to the inside of the prison van. And I start talking to him and telling him that I used to live in Rome as well. And we just hit it off instantly. We found out we used to go to the same restaurants and go to the places to hear the same DJs and stuff. And he was in his 30s, and I sort of became like a father figure to him. And his father was dying of cancer at the time, so it was even more important for him. And we arrived in the cell. Somehow he came from a very wealthy family. His father was one of the most wealthy industrialists in Rome. And so he had tons of money to pay people off. And his lawyer had worked out something through him giving him money that he could have his phone for certain periods of time. So that he starts, as soon as he's in the cell, he starts banging on the cell door. Bring me in a strong Italian accent. Bring me my phone. I want to use my phone. He says, he looks at me, he goes, Ken, let's have some pizza. What do you say? Should we have some pizza? And I said, yeah, let's do pizza around for everybody. And we got this pizza delivered. For both the women's cell and the men's cell, it was hilarious, and it just kicked off. It gave me energy being with him, and it just kicked off the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, part of the film. We started arranging comedy nights in the cell and helping the others in the cell to figure out what they're going to do when they get out, future plans. And that was at this point too, where he goes, and Ken, you're going to write a book about all this as well. So that all happened. And then he freaked out one day and tried to hang himself on the cell door. He goes to the cell door. He's banging on. He says, "I want out." He goes, "It's too claustrophobic in here. There's too many of us in here. I want out." And the guards were standing at the cell door like he was an animal in the zoo, making faces at him and doing all this kind of stuff. And I was looking up at them. I was going, "What are you doing? Can't you see? Why don't you take him downstairs to the solitary room and let him have some space for a little while and work this off, for God's sake?" And they wouldn't do it. Next thing you know, he pulls this plastic stool up to the cell door. He used to always sleep on this really big bath towel. Takes the bath towel, wraps it around. I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. It was incredible. Wraps it around the cell door, wraps it around his neck, stands up onto the stool, and I'm sitting there watching it going, fuck. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And I probably said more than that. I'm sitting there and I'm going, I got to stop this. I've got to stop him from doing this. And I said, can I fake a heart attack, and pull the attention away from him? And then I'm sitting there going, well, if you fake a heart attack and they take you down to the hospital and then they tell you there's nothing wrong with this guy, what are you talking about? I knew they'd beat the shit out of me when we'd get back to the jail. All this, Mark, is going through my head at like a million miles an hour, for God's sakes. And because there he is at the point of getting ready to hang himself, and all of a sudden I just go like that, and I did heart attack, and he saw it immediately and felt, because he loved me, he just looked at me, and then two guys pulled him off, and he ran over to me and took me in his arms, and it stopped him. And then they rushed me to the hospital, which it was it's an hour drive. It's not that much of a rush, but with sirens ablazing and everything like that. And I got to the hospital, and next thing I knew, they took me to ICCU, and I actually did have some heart problems, and my blood pressure had gone through the roof since I'd been in jail as well. And I ended up spending 5 nights in the hospital, and a total of 5 weeks of the 5 months in hospital. I learned how to use that as a weapon to escape, from the jail and have another place to go to. But the whole COVID thing was happening. So the second time I went there, I started feeling really bad, and they were coming around asking who all has had the shot, and people here are very compliant. All the others came up, yes, yep, and they say which one, they give them, and I was kind of like hiding in the corner of the cell, thinking that usually when I would go in that one particular corner, I could hide and they wouldn't see me when they'd come to the cell door. And they go, okay, that's everyone. And I thought, oh, good, he didn't see me. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, who's that down there? And he calls me up to the cell door. And I said, listen, no, they've told me I don't have to have it because I'm old man. I'm 63. I got heart problems and diabetes. And so he just went, Oh, okay. All right. You're okay then. I mean, that's one of the amazing things about being in this country is they're so compliant to things. Like if you just say something in an authoritative voice, it's amazing what you can get away with. But the fact is, Mark, I got rushed to the hospital on the third time, and this is quite an intense part of the book too. Sorry, long-winded way of answering your question. And they put me in the COVID section. I was just surrounded by people who were dying left and right. And they finally came in and said, "Oh, we made a mistake. You're not supposed to be here." And they moved me out to another section. But it was, that after me sitting in jail wondering if I was going to get 14 years in prison if I didn't come up with $250,000 that they wanted, all of a sudden I was sitting there going, "My God, Ken, you've got bigger fish to fry right now. You're just you're a statistic right now in the where it was all just plastic, plastic walls and all these guys in white outfits, coming in and examining you with their clipboard and stuff like that. It was so bizarre, Mark. It was just very strange.
This has got movie written all over it. And if the Hollywood producers watching this, you're going to raise the money just with the product placement from KFC and Pizza Hut. And this is a line that should be in the trailer. The guys just want to watch the game, Nurse Ratched, and eat fried chicken. That's the way to do this movie.
Thank God I've got someone that knows One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah, I know all of them. I was actually thinking not long ago. It's time we had a prison movie, because it's been a long time since there's been a good. The Shawshank was probably the last great one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and, these films are really, my God, the human race needs miscarriages of justice to show. I think it's. I don't actually think you need to read, because you're such a good storyteller. I mean, it's obvious that you're a good writer because you tell a great story, and it's. I'm sorry.
I've got to here.
Mark, if you've never heard it, let him read the mum one.
Another question first. I'm just wondering, where was the support from the U.S. Embassy?
Oh, another good question. Very good questions as usual, Mark. There was none.
That's why they call me Question Mark.
There was none. In fact, I didn't even hear anything from them until 2 months in, which was very interesting. I mean, the Italian embassy was there, boom, like that. But when they finally called through to me, they said, "Sorry, we're not permitted to come there because of the current situation, health situation." The Italian embassy had no problem with it. They were visiting him like crazy, but they wouldn't come. And then they said, and on top of that, Ken, they said, "We're really sorry, but in the country where you're at, our hands are tied. We can't do anything." So I got no support. And they had the nerve to send me a survey when I got out that was, like TripAdvisor, Booking.com. How was your stay?
One star. Yeah.
I didn't even answer any of it. I couldn't even get myself to be a smartass with it. I just said, "God, jeez."
Is there no way, Ken, of recovering any of the money defrauded?
No. The lawyer that I have now brought that up at one point, and then he said, "No, there's no way we would win. There's no way we would win." Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Right. Well, we've got about 5 minutes left. If you want to read an excerpt from the book, I can put you on full screen for everybody to enjoy because I think it will be good.
Okay.
See if we can get through this one. Neither of us got through this one without crying on my podcast. This is amazing. Check this out.
All right.
Hey, I think if I don't look at you, Phil, I should.
I'm gonna make the directorial decision to remove me and Phil while you read it.
If I can just say also in closing that bless Phil, the beautiful friend that he is. I mean, he has really tried his best with this Give, Send, Go crowdfunding campaign, but unfortunately, people aren't in a very giving mode or something at the moment. We were only able to raise 600 quid so far in several weeks. So Phil and I both have agreed that we've got to go for the big guns now. You know, if we can reach anyone that possibly has the type of dosh that they can. I need about $75,000 is what it is to leave this place, get a flight out of here, live for a year while I'm sorting out these podcasts and film and book stuff, of which then I should get some money coming through. If someone is willing to come up with that, either with cash or with Bitcoin as well, and I'm more than happy to do an ROI, return on investment deal on it. I'm not just asking for a handout, but it's reached the point where I think that's the kind some kind of Bitcoin billionaire or whatever that's out there will hopefully have a bit of compassion and heart and help to get me out of this place. I think that's what we're aiming for at the moment. Would you agree, Phil? Is he there? No.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, definitely. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Well, that is a way to go, but I'm also a big believer in getting on with it now. And if you want to have a separate chat about how to monetize a podcast, then let me know because I'm an expert at that. And
I'd love to. Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. I'd love to. That'd be great.
I also have a publishing company, so. But anyway, let's get you to read this because I'm running out of time, and I'd like you to read a bit from the book if that's all right. And by the way, if anybody watching this does have £1 million and they want to send it to Ken, how do they get hold of you?
Phil, did we give the email address?
I'll send it to Mark. I'll put it underneath.
Okay. I'll put it under the video. All right, over to you, Ken.
Okay, so as Mark asked me, were you able to have phone contact? And as I said, no, they were keeping my phone downstairs at the guard desk. And this was very concerning to me because my 99-year-old mother, I had taught her how to use a laptop and how to use Skype and she loved it. And we used to do these weekly phone calls. Before Skype, I was very out of touch with her. I was a horrible son. And then we started doing these Skype calls on a weekly basis. And I would usually be the one to instigate it. I would make the call. And there we were, like 2 months in, and I hadn't called her. And I'm sitting there thinking, God, what's she thinking? Why am I not calling her? So this from the book is, which isn't out yet, is called The Last Call. For weeks, I had lied to myself. She won't notice that I haven't called her. At 99, time blurs anyway. But mothers, even those clinging to life by the thinnest thread, always notice. What could I do? The guards were keeping my phone downstairs and I had no access to it. Our customary weekly Skype calls had become impossible. So when the guard came sprinting up the stairs, his boots pounding like a hammer on my ribs, I knew before he spoke, no one got phone privileges here, not unless the world was ending. Cut, she gasped, shoving the device through the bars. Urgent, it's your mother. A birthday call, of course. Even as her mind unraveled, even when she forgot my face in photos last Christmas, some stubborn part of her had held on to this. It's my son's special day. My throat tightened. What lie would I spin about my silence to her? That my phone broke? That I'd been traveling somewhere remote with no signal? Then the phone screen flickered to life. Her face was a ghost of itself. Papery skin stretched over bone, lips tinged blue, propped upright by pillows that swallowed her frail frame. She looked like a child's drawing of a queen too weary for her crown. A nurse hovered behind her, eyes glistening. Ken, the nurse whispered. She's been unresponsive for hours, but when I said your name, she insisted we call you. The air left my lungs. All the clever excuses, all the brave facades crumbled. There was only her labored breathing, the rhythmic beep of machines, and the crushing weight of everything I couldn't say. I'm in jail, Mom. I couldn't say that to her. I failed. I couldn't say that either. I'm so scared. I'm not going to say that to her. For 15 minutes, that's how long I stared at her, saying nothing, just memorizing the slope of her nose. She's still elegant, even now, the way her silver hair fanned across the pillow like spilled moonlight. Every second dripped with the cruel irony. I, the world traveler, was caged. She, who'd outlived wars and heartbreaks, was finally out of time. Tears burned behind my eyes, acidic and insistent, but I clenched my jaw. If these were her last moments, she wouldn't see me broken. She'd seen enough of that in '08, when the divorce shattered me. In 15, when malaria nearly killed me in Cape Verde. This time I'd be strong. Mom, I rasped, the words clawing up my throat. I love you. A pause. Then her hand twitched. Just a flutter, really, but the nurse gasped. She heard you, she murmured, cradling my mother's fingers. Oh, Ken, she squeezed my... Then the monitor flatlined. One long, endless tone. The nurse's mouth kept moving, but I heard nothing. Not the guards arguing down the hall. Not my cellmates' nervous shuffling behind me. Just the silence where her breath should have been. On my birthday, the universe's final joke, the day she'd once celebrated with chocolate cakes and off-key renditions of Happy Birthday, now marked in ashes. The guard pried the phone from my numb hand, saying, "That's it, time's up." Oh, how right he was. Time's up. Later, they'd say I didn't make a sound, that I just sat there staring at the concrete wall as if it might morph into her face one last time. But inside I was 6 years old again, sobbing into her lap after my first fist fight. I was 30, her arms tight around me at Dad's funeral. I was 60, her laughter ringing through the phone. Oh, my wild boy, always chasing the next adventure. Now the adventures were over. And for the first time, they'd slapped the cuffs on me. I let the tsunami come.
Well, another note to the Hollywood producers: let Ken do the voiceover.
Yeah. That gets me every time. That one.
Yeah, that's it's thank you for sharing that story, Ken, and thanks, Phil, for coming on. Good luck with the Ancestral Health Festival. Good luck with everything, Ken. We'll stay in touch, and thanks everybody for watching. Phil, remind everybody where they've got to go.
For the Ancestral Health Festival, ancestralhealthfestival.com. And I'll send the links to Mark for Ken and for the Ancestral Health Festival, and Ken's email address for that guy out there or that lady who has got a enormous amount of money and wants to sort out. Come on, you're out there. Do it.
Be a hell of a project as well. So, yeah. Good luck with all of it, guys. And got to go. We're out of time, but thanks very much for coming on today.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you later.
Are you looking for amazing retreats in Ireland?
Let us help you become the best version of you in a matter of days.
Ireland is a wonderful place to retreat from the world and find some inner peace.
It is a deeply historic and spiritual country, and nothing can inspire the soul more than the stunning west of Ireland.
We have chosen the historic town of Boyle in County Roscommon to build our state-of-the-art clinic, Live5D Health, nestled along the beautiful Boyle River.
Our centre combines a range of therapies that cannot be found under one roof anywhere else in Ireland.
These therapies need to be experienced on a daily basis over a number of days to truly feel the incredible, powerful effects.
So we have put together a fabulous package for people from across the world who are looking to truly reinvigorate their health and mental well-being. Full details of itineraries, dates and costs can be found when you join our retreats email waiting list on live5dhealth.com. Our total wellness retreats use the stunning Frybrook House, only a 2-minute walk across the bridge from our centre, as your base for a range of daily therapies in our EMF protected and energetically harmonious centre.
Our activities and therapies include a wide range of truly healthy breakfast, lunch and dinner options provided by Frybrook House and Boyle's best chefs, under our strict guidance on the provenance of ingredients and their nutritional value.
A daily morning yoga session.
Red light therapy in the most advanced red light bed in Ireland to activate the mitochondria in your cells, help weight loss, reverse aging, stimulate collagen and relax every cell.
Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy to harmonize your electromagnetic field, strengthen your cell walls, and stimulate circulation and healing.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy or exercise with oxygen therapy to detoxify and feed your cells with this essential healing nutrient on a level you've never experienced before.
A session in our luxury sauna overlooking the Boyle River.
The world's cleanest water steam room. Our water is vigorously cleaned and harmonized with nature.
Immersive light and sound therapies, including the only Roxiva and soundbed combination in Ireland, aided by the only holographic sound system in Ireland. Has to be experienced to be believed.
Quantum healing in our Orinoco healing pod. Profound spiritual experiences await you here, especially if you are an experienced meditator, but also amazing if you are not.
Daily hydrogen and Brown's gas sessions to help your body rejuvenate itself with the fundamental building blocks of the universe.
Provision of clean, structured and mineralized hydrogen water for you to consume throughout the retreat, with the inclusion of a hamper containing our best supplements.
A final light dinner with our founders, Mark Atwood and Gary Keeley, and the Live5D team at a stunning Irish castle.
These treatments are all well-established foundations, especially if you are chronically ill.
Or just want to enhance your being and give your body and soul the best treat you could possibly give it.
There is a lot of information on our website about all of them, so we do encourage you to look around and do your own research on the benefits before applying to come on a retreat with us.
They are also cumulative. That is, if you experience them over multiple days, the effects are enhanced.
Of course, we're not only offering these incredible therapies on our retreats.
We want you to have a fully immersive Irish experience as we are nestled in and amongst some of the most incredible sacred sites and landscapes on Earth.
Many know of Ireland's mystical past, being connected to Egypt, Atlantis and Lemuria.
And our centre is only a few minutes from the wild Atlantic coast,
Queen Maev's tomb,
the mystical and powerful Carrickeel,
and the caves of Kesh, among many other places of great interest.
We will make excursions to many of these on your visit, as well as a choice from some of these local delights.
A seaweed bath in the coastal town of Inishgrone. Built in 1912, these traditional seaweed baths are famous for their high concentration of iodine, which relieves all sorts of ailments from arthritis to rheumatism.
A seaside sauna and sea swim at Ross's Point. Our sauna is fabulous, but we will also take you to the charming and picturesque town of Ross's Point, where you will be able to swim safely in the sea, set against the spectacular backdrop of Benbulben.
A stunning canoe trip along the rivers of County Sligo, very gentle exercise where you will see how the rivers of Ireland can be like the rivers of Africa, with the almost guaranteed inclusion of kingfishers.
A flight in a light aircraft across the township of Boyle, where you will experience the local lakes and mountains from a unique perspective.
A boat tour of Lough Key, our local lake which features multiple islands, a castle in the lake frequented by W.B. Yeats, an alleged interdimensional portal, and many tales of UFO sightings. Trips to the local organic markets and farms, a traditional Irish music evening in a thatched pub, a lunch boat tour on the mighty River Shannon. Our retreats run throughout the seasons of the year and are strictly limited in numbers.
So please fill out the form on live5dhealth.com today and get on the waiting list.